There's a very famous saying, isn't there, that if you play with fire, you're going to get burned. It's been used a lot in songs, hasn't it? The ones, girls. And it's kind of the sort of thing that you think about that with the former royals known as Harry and Meghan. They like to be known, of course, around the world as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Titles mean nothing, but they do when you're monetizing, as we've all found out. But what is fascinating about them is how stupid really they are, because they come out fighting against certain things when there is the proof. And if you were anybody, you'd realize, particularly if you'd worked in this world of media, well, you would be very cautious to do certain things like this, because you may think maybe, just maybe, that was recorded. And there lies the nub of this story. As ever, let me explain. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll have a wave. You all right? Yes, a bit chilly, but yeah, we'll keep warm. I know. Thank you. Still having that tot of whiskey on a night. Yes, yeah, well, I don't drink, seriously, but the whiskey, it burns through you, doesn't it, like almost an electric blanket. So by the time you get into bed, you think, ooh, quite warm, too warm then. You like me. By the way, anybody got an electric blanket? I saw that in a shop the other day. I haven't seen one of those for years. I was always a bit nervous about an electric blanket, because I don't like the idea of it being turned on totally overnight, new line on it. What if it blows up? Knowing my luck. Yes. Well, just, yeah, well, let me know. Have you got one? Oh, you find it nice? Yeah. And well, who can afford to put it on, though? That's the thing, isn't it? Back as ever to your royal story of the day. Fascinating story, this, because as I often say here on the show, stupid meets stupid, when you think about it. We told you a while back now about how Harry and Meghan basically were, as you know, through their docuseries on Netflix, found that orchestrated reality of their engagement interview. And this has not gone away, let me tell you, because when you think about it, those royal engagement interviews are a bit of a cringe fest. There's no two ways about it. I thought Catherine and William's was a little bit sort of formal, shall we say, but I think you could see that the two got on, and William was definitely driving the conversation. Catherine looked beautiful, but a little bit, nervous, naturally so. Not so nervous Meghan Markle, though. Oh no, very assured, pulling faces, laughing, mocking, all that sort of stuff. It was all there, wasn't it, to see what was coming, if you just rewatch that interview. That was held together, of course, by the BBC reporter Michelle Hussein. And then when they said that it was orchestrated reality, they basically claimed that this wasn't the way that it had operated. Michelle and the BBC hit back. And then, I don't know if you know this, but Harry and Meghan once again were threatening legal proceedings, as ever, allegedly. Fascinating, this, because the BBC, even to this point today, are basically saying this is what happened. And I have this from a good source who actually was there on the day. You see, at the end of the interview, Prince Harry personally got up and thanked the crew, and personally wrote a letter back to the BBC thanking them for, being so kind to his future wife, etc. They have that letter. So if it was so bad, why would you put pen to paper? Interesting to note as well, at the culmination of said interview, the one person that got up and warmly thanked everybody was, of course, the former royal known as the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry. Meghan Markle could barely acknowledge, according to those people. And of course, the bigger situation is this: if they wanted to push it forward, the BBC have the unaired off-cuts, as they called, footage, which basically sees them being schooled and asked, is that all right? Do you agree with that? They couldn't have been nicer. People are in those situations. So again, why would you openly lie about something that was on record? But obviously with somebody like Meghan, where she forgot when she assisted in that dire book, she figured, being a royal at that point, nobody was ever going to come after her. You see, the bottom line is, if you keep pushing it, Meghan, even the BBC have their limits, and they have all the footage required to make sure that their side of the events are totally clear. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.